Today we've got Kris and Nicole Yeomans with us. They are missionaries to West Africa, and they returned to the United States because of the COVID pandemic. And so we're glad to be able to ask them a few questions today to bring you up to date on what's going on in their life and in their ministry. And we're looking forward to sharing their passion for West Africa with you today. So let me just start off with how you're doing now. You're here in the States. You had to come back because of COVID. So how are you doing now? And perhaps more importantly, for those watching, are you available to visit churches?
Good morning. Good to see you, Mark. And we are actually doing well. We did arrive back in the U.S. on April 1st and have been quarantining and socially distancing and all of that good stuff, trying to stay away from people quite a bit to avoid COVID-19. But we're all doing pretty well. It was quite an adjustment, I'd say, because we left rather suddenly. We weren't expecting to be able to leave the country because the borders had closed and the airport had closed. But right after we made plans to sort of quarantine there, we got word from the embassy that we could come back. So it was a fast, unexpected trip, but I'd say after for a couple of months we've adjusted back okay and are doing well. And yes, I would say that at this point we are now available to travel to church and visit and be with you all. Now, when we have gone to places, have tried to maintain social and all that just to try to avoid this virus as much as we can. But yeah, we are available for sure to visit. We'd like to do that some before we head back.
Would Facebook Messenger be the best way to reach out to you for an appointment?
Yeah, I would say Facebook Messenger, or they could email Kris@generalbaptist.com. And that's Kris, Kris@generalbaptist.com. Either way would be a good way to get in touch with us to schedule something.
How long had you been in West Africa prior to needing to return because of COVID?
Oh, well, so we just hit our year mark of we left the country. So a year minus math skills are horrible. But from July until April 1st until the end of March is how long we were there. So
bring everybody up to date on where you were in ministry development at that point.
Okay, yeah. So of course we've been doing French lessons. We had a tutor that we met with a few hours a day, every day. Exhausting, but it was going really well. And then we would also work at Sahel, where the girls go to school. We worked there part-time as well to fulfill our agreement with them for the partnership. And we also worked a few evenings and on Saturdays at the Foyer Evangelique University. It's a center where students come and they teach English classes as well as a lot of other classes. They do computer skills, cooking, guitar lessons. Really, they have a plethora of lessons, but we were really plugged into the English classes. And so a couple nights a week, we assisted with English classes, and then on Saturdays, we held a conversation class, which was a lot of fun. And so the majority of the students that came, they were college age, and they were Muslim students, mostly young men, but we did have a few women as well as an older adult, and a few that were in the mix as well. And it was just really, really exciting. And I absolutely love it and can't wait to get back, because the way we would do the English classes, we would plug in a Bible story. We would read scripture because they're all eager to learn English. And we try and pick topics that they can relate to as Muslims and that we can have conversations on. So, they have no problem talking about religion. So we would have very open conversations in English about religion and other things of life. And one of the main things I was really surprised about is the opportunity it gave those Christian students to speak up and share their faith. and you could tell it was a really big deal for them, because their whole demeanor would change a little, and they would get really serious, and they would kind of quieten down. But it was amazing to see their boldness as they explained their faith in whatever situation that we were talking about. So we just were really blessed to be able to be a part of that, and really can't wait to get back to it. So.
All right, so you're here now, but the
Yes.
ministry goes on. So what does the ministry look like in your absence while you're here in the States?
So many of the classes and everything at the foyer were canceled because of COVID-19. The Nigerian government put a lot of restrictions in place as well, just like here, where people could not, church services were canceled. Really everything was canceled. So everything kind of slowed down in that regard. We obviously, because we came back here, we stopped taking French lessons, and then school for the girls actually was discontinued for the rest of the year. So they actually finished up their school year via email. Like, they were getting information from their teachers online, and they would complete the work and then send it back. So they were able to finish out the school year that way from here in the U.S. Everything else there just really came down to basically a halt. And then just recently, I guess in the past month or so, churches have begun to meet again and things like that. So I have not heard, I believe the foyer is going to continue to not meet, at least right now, but they may be starting up some things again soon if they haven't already recently began starting with classes again. So just very similar to here, everything kind of came to a halt there. And then, coupled with the virus, there's always, a risk for terrorist activity. There's always a security issue, it seems like, ongoing in different parts of the country, or really the region, not necessarily just we live in. But so that had actually, along with the virus, that caused a lot of problems for people who live there. A lot of farmers were run out of their villages. They could not care for the crops. There's a lot of things that have happened, and because of that, it actually created a ministry opportunity for us here in the U.S. because there was a food shortage there. And so, as you know, we've been working on raising money ongoing to send back there. We transfer it for free to in-country, and there's a missionary there that's been helping us by taking the money out and purchasing food for people. So that was actually a good opportunity for us to still be able to help the people there while we're here in the U.S.
Do you have any numbers of the people that have been helped with food assistance?
I do have some numbers, particularly for what General Baptists have been able to raise, or what's come through our organization, for which we are very, very thankful. We've had a lot of people give very generously, not only for West Africa, but really, as you know, around the world, for the pastors to help them, for people who are in need, really in all of our mission fields. We appreciate the generosity of the people who have given so much to help with that. General Baptist specifically, we've raised enough money to be able to provide food for nearly 800 people for just over a month. And that's to be able to feed them every single day, people for, I believe, 35 to 36 days. The fundraising efforts are continuing. As you know, so if people still want to give to that to help, they're welcome to do that through the General Baptist website, or they can send checks into the office, as you know. But I know specifically for what General Baptists have done, it's been just a huge blessing to be able to feed that many people for over a month. Harvest season is not until, I believe, September and October, so they're expecting a food shortage to continue until that time. So we'll continue trying to help with that as much as we can until then. But we are very grateful for what we've been able to at least send over and help with so far.
All right, that's really exciting to hear. And they could send a donation to West Africa Food Assistance at 100 Stinson Drive, Poplar Bluff, Missouri 63901, and then we could get that to you guys, and you could work through your partner there to continue to provide some food assistance until you're able to return. So what would that look like? What are your plans to return to West Africa, and what do you anticipate life will look like when you get there?
So right now our plans are to hopefully return to West Africa in mid-August. I almost said mid-March. Mid-August. The airport is still closed there. In Niamey, they talked about opening it to some, intercontinental flights. Some other African countries, being able to open the airport for flights to come in around July 15th. But I recently heard that date was moved back into like July 25th. There's also been rumors that possibly it'll open to international flights on August 1st, but they're thinking that may be moved back a little bit as well, but nobody has heard for sure. If it does open on August 1st or early August, our plans are to renew our visas here in the U.S. right after we hear that it's open, and then return, like I said, 2 to 3 weeks after that. So sometime hopefully around mid to late August. And then when we get back there, we're expecting, as of right now, a 14-day quarantine. We've heard that the government is not allowing people to go home, that they have to go actually quarantine at a hotel right now and spend 14 days there to ensure they do not have the virus. I've been keeping up to date on the numbers there, the local numbers, and I believe it was yesterday they'd completed 85 tests for the COVID-19 and there were no positive results. So that's good news. Overall, the tests they've been doing, the numbers have been significantly lower than here in the U.S. Although I'm sure the testing numbers have been a lot lower as well. But they've only had, I want to say, in our country, 75 to 80, maybe 80 to 90 deaths total since mid-March. So it hasn't been anything like here, but again, the number of tests are probably a lot lower too. But we are thankful at least that we hear the numbers are dropping there too, and there were no positive tests, at least as of yesterday. And even the past few days, I've noticed the numbers have been very low for any positive results. So that's good.
Okay. Well, good. So when you get back and finish language study and all that sort of stuff, what's the strategy in West Africa? What do you envision the ministry there looking like?
Yeah, so we obviously want to keep going on with the English classes because it's a unique opportunity to reach that specific group of people that are going to be the next generation of leaders. So we want to continue that, as well as we hope to very soon after we get back and get finished with our quarantine, meet with the village chief at a village that we've been led to, that we picked out. We've been praying, for a long time for God to lead us to somewhere where we can build a ministry center and really just kind of have a base for ministry. And I think we found that village, and it's about 15 minutes from our house. So it's still within the safety zone of where we can travel, but it's, out of the city there a little bit. And so we want to meet with the village chief to talk about land, and as soon as we are able to, would like to build a ministry center that's very much just like any other house in the village, that would kind of be a basis for our ministry, or as church and Bible study, education, literacy classes, basic education for children that can't afford to go to school. And we very want that to be Nigerian-led as soon as possible. And so really we're just hoping to hit the ground running with that, as well as continuing our language. Once we get French under our, we do hope to start on a travel. As you know, outside of the city, French doesn't do you a whole lot of good. We need to start the travel language as well as soon as possible. And so, yeah, we're just really excited about the opportunities and hope that God will continue leading us there. We already have a point contact in the village. It's actually where our guard and his family moved out to. And so we've been out there to visit several times. We took our last Mission 1 team there. And it's a beautiful place, and we just kind of fell in love with it. So just really excited to start working out of that now.
Yeah, and
that really sounds exciting. Go ahead, Kris.
I was going to say that, and that ministry center too will sort of be a jumping off point for the overall strategy, which again, as you know, our heart has been evangelism and church planting. So we're hoping from that to have our first church there, and then take it from there and just expand on that, where we hope to do a lot of evangelism. Once we have Christians in that village, we want to start with discipleship programs and do a lot of theology teaching and things like that. And we're hoping to utilize actually Mission One teams to come and help with that as well, to do some teaching to brand new Christians. So we're really excited about that opportunity as well. But in addition to food distribution and helping when we can in that, and having medical clinics when we can out of this building. Really, it comes down to, we want to educate children who don't have an opportunity to go to school. We want to help people learn to read, but our main focus does want to be centered on evangelism and sharing the gospel with everybody that comes through there. So we're really looking forward to getting that going and getting back and all that. So.
Well, exciting opportunities. On the General Baptist Missions website, GBImissions.com, if they click on countries and then West Africa, there's a form there that they can make a donation to West Africa. And then if they continue to look around the website and go to community projects, we do have specific web pages for the ministry center in West Africa. And then also, you had indicated that there would be a need for a fence around the property. Is that still something that you would need to do pretty quickly after moving forward with the property purchase?
Yes. So everybody there, really the first step after buying land is to build a wall around it, and that is for security and that sort of thing, especially being out in the village away from town. So that will be our first steps after we get the land purchased, is to get a good solid wall built around there, and then start with, hopefully soon after, building really it'll be very similar to the mud hut building, but something that looks very local, but that will be used quite a bit. So.
All right. And on our website, they could click on community and find a donation page for the West Africa Ministry Center fence, and also the West Africa Ministry Center. And so we would certainly encourage people to visit there and to begin donating, so that when that opportunity presents itself, we could move forward quickly.
Yes, absolutely.
You guys have anything else you want to say before we end our interview?
Just that we appreciate everybody's prayers for us. Like I said, it was a quick trip, unexpected trip home. There's been quite a few adjustments, but we appreciate everybody keeping us in prayer and continuing to support us through this. And through this, it's been hard on everybody around the world, and we appreciate people going above and beyond, really, to continue to support us, but also give generously to the ministry and to help, feed people, really, to provide food for them. It's been really great to see that. So we appreciate everybody and their prayers and support, and we are looking forward to getting back and then hoping all of you over there sometime.
Kris and Nicole had it was a tough decision for them to decide to come home. Kris had some medical problems early on in the ministry, and they had to delay their departure to West Africa because of that. But those health concerns make him particularly vulnerable to COVID, according to medical specialists. And so, as difficult as it was for them, they felt like that they probably needed to be here, and we certainly appreciated that decision and endorsed that decision as well. And so, if you'd like to have them come to your church, reach out to them at Kris@generalbaptist.com, or reach out to them on Facebook Messenger, and schedule them to come to your church, and be praying for them that they'll be able to return to West Africa as soon as possible. Thank you guys so much for the interview today. We appreciate it.
All right. Thank you.
All right. God bless.